This is Hope Radio 24/7. Online at www.hoperadio247.com. You're listening to Hope Radio 24/7, where hope changes everything.
Fact number one. When I first saw you, I found your appearance very pleasing. Fact number two.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Feeling better?
Yeah.
Good.
That was awful last time I was here.
Good. How about you?
Good.
Okay. Here's our list of events.
You're listening to Hope. This is Hope Radio 24/7. Online at www.
Hello, please enter your 6-digit conference code. Welcome to free conference calling. The conference has not started. If you are the host, please enter your 4-digit host code to open the conference. If you are not the host, we will now connect you to your call. You are the first attendee in this conference. The host has joined the conference.
Well, I got to think just the other day, what if the voices in my head, they would turn and run away? And all of the mistakes and the choices that I've made, and all those tiny little voices telling me I'm still the same. Try to fake a smile, but there's tears behind those eyes. Well, if people only knew what was going on inside. Sometimes I want to run, sometimes I want to scream, sometimes I want to punch the mirror staring back at me. No matter what you're feeling, just know that you can tell. And all those tiny little voices go to hell. Like a dream, I want to yell, but the words don't come out. And all the people who take the sidelines wonder what it's all about. Who's to judge a man by the scars his life has placed? Oh, and we all have our demons that we all have to face. Sometimes I want to run, sometimes I want to scream, sometimes I want to punch the mirror.
It's funny, but it seems the world is filled with dreams that the people want so much, but they can't get off their knees. Pray and pray every single day, and when the time is right, they're too scared to take the
Good morning, Corona. This is Corona Business Talk with Kimberly Davidson, your Economic Development Manager. And I have with me in the studio this morning Chris Hernandez with Appcorp Labs in Corona. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning. Thanks for having me today.
Of course. Yeah, thank you for being here. Can you give us a little background on what Appcorp Labs is?
Sure. Appcorp Labs is a mobile and web software development company, and we focus on building products that solve real technology problems. So we don't do, like websites and that sort of thing. We do more actual technology products that are solving some sort of issues. For example, one of the apps that we've launched recently is called Easer, which is a trucking app that allows the consumer as well as businesses to summon a pickup truck to move whatever items they need to be delivered on the same day. So that was recently rebuilt and rebooted on iOS this past week, and we're going to be building a client portal and releasing that in the next week. So that's an example of what we do.
Wow, that's really incredible. And you guys are located in Corona?
Right here in Corona, in Surface Club.
And how long have you been located in Corona?
A little under 2 years. We'll have our 2-year anniversary fourth quarter this year. We're definitely looking to stick around for a long term. We love being out here. Obviously, we enjoy our relationship with the city, with the Corona Chamber, and everybody's been very supportive as far as our growth within the territory. And I'm really excited to talk to you about Innovation Month, too, because that's always our little to-do list on April.
Yep.
So. Yep.
April is Innovation Month in Corona and in Riverside County. And for more information on that, Chris and I are going to talk quite a bit about it today, but the main calendar is hosted at rivcoinnovation.org. And if you go on there, there is a calendar of events with all of the events that are going on throughout Riverside County, whether it's Corona, City of Riverside, Moreno Valley, Murrieta, Temecula. A lot of different cities are hosting a lot of different events throughout the month, and that's really awesome. And one of the main reasons why we do Innovation Month, because Chris, are you telling me there is a really cool app development company in Corona, California? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
And you guys are developing apps right out of Corona?
We're developing real technology for real issues. And
I love that.
And what's so interesting about our story, and I think this also ties into the Innovation Month too, is that there's a lot of other places outside of Silicon Valley that want to exist and want to have a diversified economy, and I remember when we did our first Innovation Month, and maybe you can kind of talk us through what was the genesis of all that, because I remember us doing some stuff last year, and this is our second year participating.
Right.
Can you kind of talk us through what was the logic behind it and what was the impetus behind that?
Absolutely. So where this really all started was for the past 10 years, myself and Rob Moran, there's been a few of us around the county that have really been trying to tie the county together for the past 10 years, bring everybody together. Prior to that, we really all worked in silos, and we were all just working on our own thing and not collaborating as much as we do now. And so Rob Moran with the County of Riverside and I got to talking, and this was about a year and a half ago now, that we really need to start changing the messaging, not just out to counties like Orange County, but even internally. There's a lot of people within Riverside County that don't know that we have app development companies, that we have some really great job opportunities here. And whether you're talking about tech or clean tech, high-end manufacturing, we have a lot of really good job opportunities, a lot of innovation in this county. But we've not done a great job of sharing that message and getting that message out even internally. So as we got to talking about this, we decided, let's create like a month where we just focus and highlight all of the really good, innovative things that Riverside County is doing. And so what started about a year and a half ago and then leading up to April of 2017, we ended up speaking with all of the cities within Riverside County. And basically the way that the month works is each city jurisdiction is responsible for setting up their own events, adding them to the calendar for Riverside County. And the whole goal of it is for the calendar to look like organized chaos. Really, we do have so much going on here not just in the month of April, but always.
And showcase some of the talent and companies
exactly
that exist
yeah.
out here.
I mean, and we'll get into some of these events more in depth, but I mean, we have Shark Tank events going on. They're pitch events where entrepreneurs can pitch their business ideas to business judges and investors, and just some really fun, innovative type workshops that we have going on. And really, I think more important than letting Orange County know or letting other surrounding counties and areas know what we have going on here, we've really got to start changing the message even within Riverside County. We have a really incredible county. We're growing faster than any other place in the world. We have, I was just at an economist. We had 2 economist meetings last week. I know you were at one of them. And then we had one immediately after that with Dr. Husing and some information that was disseminated there. And really, our county is about the size of a small state, which is pretty incredible.
Yes.
And
it's like 4 million between Riverside and
close
San
to
Bernardino?
yes. And we have so much going on here, so much technology and innovation. But what we haven't been doing is proper messaging even amongst ourselves. So that's one of the main goals of Riverside County Innovation Month, is for even our residents, our business owners, our manufacturers, people who live and work here every day, that they may not know some of the phenomenal opportunities that we have here within Riverside County and in Corona.
Yeah, and I know when we first participated, that last year was the first year that you guys kicked this whole thing off.
Right.
Who was was this something that there was a board or there was a group of folks who just said, hey, everybody from the cities, we're just going to do this thing? Or how did that all come together?
Well, we kind of have a monthly meeting every month at the Riverside County EDA offices, Economic Development Agency offices, with Rob Moran. And that's called the Economic Development Alliance. And so every month we meet. It's all of the economic development persons, whether it's managers or coordinators or directors, that meet at the Riverside County offices and just talk about what's going on. And so after Rob and I had kind of decided this is what we wanted to do, it was still very early, very, very early. The next person we pulled in was Steve Massa from City of Riverside. And the trio of us went out to lunch and kind of talked about how we could implement this. And really the goal, what we were talking about, was not necessarily if we should do it, but more how we could do it and make it manageable for all the cities to join in, because that is imperative. We're all very busy. All city staff is running at probably about 25% what they used to be running at. We're low on resources. We're low on personnel resources. So we needed to make sure, in order to get buy-in from the other cities, that we really figured out how to make this manageable for them to join in and participate. And so once the 3 of us met and kind of figured out some of the details, some of the rules of engagement, then we called an all-hands-on meeting where the majority of the 28 cities in Riverside County were represented by their economic development teams, and we just kind of rolled this out, and conversations started about how people can get involved. And, if whatever city you're in, if you're in Corona, Moreno Valley, Murrieta, Temecula, wherever you are, as long as you're in Riverside County, most likely there is an event going on in your area. You're also welcome to participate in any of the events going on. They're all free. Some of them do require registration because there may be food involved or seating arrangements or whatever. But so we do ask that you register. And we have, I've been sending out a monthly calendar for the city of Corona. If you have not received something from me, please email me and get on my email list. It's kimberly.davidson@coronaca.gov. And I will be happy to add you to the list so that you can more easily register for these events. But like I said, they are all hosted on a main calendar that Riverside County keeps as well, which is rivcoinnovation.org. Awesome.
And let's talk through, we're doing this radio show, and I'm very interested in telling all the viewers of all the different things we have going on. So maybe you can talk us through some of these other events that we have going on, and then you can pass the ball back to me on whatever events we're taking care of.
For the Appcorp Labs, because, and I just want to back up just a little bit. Appcorp Labs, I met Appcorp Labs about 2 years ago when Chris first came to Corona, And
at a manufacturing event.
Well, you know, and that's the thing is you just never know where you're going to meet,
Right.
where you're going to meet
That was a fish
them.
out of water
Yeah.
for sure.
But Appcorp Labs has been very instrumental in helping us to bring together our tech community in Corona, and we do host jointly. We host a monthly meetup called Techo Tuesday. We love Techo Tuesday, and it was so much fun. Miguel's is under construction right now, so we were actually at a brewery this last month, just last week, and for April we will be at the same brewery at Skyland Ale Works. And it's really a lot of fun. And I know Chris and I have become good friends over the 2 years. And for those of you who know me, you know that's my philosophy, and I think it's Chris's too. Make friends with the people that you work with every day, and then it's like we don't even work, right?
Yes,
We get to
yes.
go on radio shows together and have Techo Tuesday. But, you know, that's kind of the name of the game with a lot of this stuff here. It's relationship building. It's getting to know one another. It's understanding who's out there, what technology companies we have, when to refer them to, and what kind of resources that they need so that they can be successful.
And I also want to, talk a little bit about that as it relates to Techo Tuesday, is that when I first came to this territory, a little under 2 years ago, and I met you, I remember having that feeling of what's going on in the territory. And when it came to technology, there was not as much happening. So when we approached that problem, we said, hey, we should do something. What I'm finding now is that the fruits of our labor have been great at capturing new people in the territory that are looking to connect to the business community.
Yes.
And now we're able to integrate them a little faster, and there's a little bit less of a learning curve as far as who's around, what resources are there, who you can talk to, and I think that's a great starting point. And this is almost like that second step to that starting point is now you can go to actual classes and you can really dig deep into some of these different pieces. Because Techo Tuesday really, and as we've talked, is a networking event and just a place for you to plug yourself in.
Relationship and social.
Exactly.
Really is what we're
and
gonna...
tacos and beer. Who doesn't?
Well,
like
yeah,
that?
right. And talking tech.
Right. So anyways, I'll pass the ball back to you on some of the events.
So our first event that we have for Innovation Month is this Wednesday, April 4th at 5:30 p.m., and that's called Getting Funded for Startups. And the tagline on that is, you will not get funded unless ... So you've got to come to the event and find out what is holding you back from getting funded. And that class is really meant to be for startup companies. Anyone is welcome. It's free to attend.
And I also want to mention that from the Economic Summit, the numbers were 8,000 startups have been started since 2011. Now, not all of those startups are going to be required funding, so to speak. Like in the business that I'm in, we do have to go and get funding for some of these technology pieces, which is normal within that business. Some are other small businesses, maybe insurance companies, maybe real estate, and they don't necessarily require that sort of capitalization. But I thought was interesting to note is that even if you're a person who is not necessarily looking to raise funds, understanding the mechanics of what it goes into building a relationship with somebody who's going to give you a nice big check, even if that check is $25,000, $50,000. Some checks are much bigger than that.
Right.
Learning that whole skill, I think, is applicable to everybody. And when you're a business and you're looking for capital, there's a lot of different methods to look for capital. And even looking for partnerships, which is another way of raising funds as well. And I think people need to be educated on, in general, if you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to scale yourself up, you're going to have to build yourself a team. You're going to have to maybe take on a partner. You're going to have to maybe find funds that you don't have. And all these skills are going to be taught in some of these classes.
Yep.
And I think I would love to compel people to say the information is out there. Yes, everyone loves to look on the interwebs. Of course, that is hands down the go-to solution. But I also think there is a place for people to take in an environment from the professors there are fairly seasoned. I know John Morrison, Steve Mortensen. They're very seasoned business people that have been doing business for probably 30 plus years or 40 combined. And you want to listen to those nuances of how they talk about things, how they look at things, what is their perspective. And so to any of the viewers who are listening, take the time out. These events are only happening once out of the whole year.
Yeah.
And there are others probably down the line that, will be there as well. But we're intentionally doing this, and I think there's something for everybody.
For April, for Innovation Month. And the other thing to think about too for our listeners out there might be some possible investors showing up to this meeting to see who is showing up as well. So it's goes back to you never know who you're going to meet. It's a free meeting. It's going to cost you an hour and a half of your time. It is at Corona City Hall in the multipurpose room. And again, that is Wednesday, April 4th, starting at 5:30 p.m. And then one of my favorite meetings that we have every month here in Corona is Coffee with an Entrepreneur. And that will be Monday, April 9th at 8 a.m. Our entrepreneur for April 9th is Darshan, and he is the co-owner of FutureLink. And FutureLink
Hi, Darshan.
Yeah. And, again, if you guys know me, you've been listening to this radio show, you know that I've been talking about FutureLink. Just one of my favorite uses at Dos Lagos. It's what we are encouraging some of our retail to move towards because we need this type of use there. And basically they have a STEM play zone for ages 6 and up where my kids have been there. They loved it. They keep asking when we can go back. It's fun for them. The crazy thing is that they're learning. They're learning engineering, they're learning technology, they're learning science, but they don't think so. They think they're playing. And how incredible is that? Because if someone had made science fun for me way back when, it would have been more fun to learn it rather than a chore is what it kind of turns into, I think, if you don't ever get that fire for it. And so that's one of the things that they're teaching at FutureLink is getting kids to understand science, technology, engineering, and math early on, and the arts. They've added in the A as well. And then for the older age groups, like 11 and up, they do have different classes, Microsoft Word, different Microsoft classes. And then they even have, for senior citizens, they will teach senior citizens how to operate their smartphone, how to get on Skype, how to connect with grandkids, how to use social media. So they've got a variety of classes for any age group. And that's right there in Dos Lagos. It's a new retail use, so it's kind of over by Creme de la Creme.
Yep.
And
Stone Church.
Yeah, and Stone Church, right across from Stone Church Brewery, which is another favorite. And another, again, that's where retail is kind of moving towards having an experience, whether your experience is a microbrew or a STEM play zone, but it's an experience.
And I think it's also important to talk about the trends that are happening in the economy that are pushing people towards these type of positions.
Right.
Unfortunately, retail has been taking a big hit last year. There was, I think, around to the tune of 50 retailers that filed for bankruptcy, and things that are changing in our economy are driving the different types of jobs for the future. We talked about in the economic summit, blue tech and green jobs. We even talked about it on the car ride over here that, I think it's important for parents and people to understand that the economy is changing, whether we like it or not, and we have to be prepared for those things, and we have to prepare the generations that are coming up underneath us to be aware of this, to have the opportunities to choose these type of jobs if they want to. I mean, obviously nobody's forcing anybody, but there's always a place in technology. Even this past week, we had the La Sierra Business Academy visit our office, and I found that to be a very wonderful opportunity for me personally to kind of just talk to the students about, hey, there's 5 or 7 different skill sets that go into building a piece of technology. If you're a creative, you can design. If you're a coder, you can code. If you're a salesperson, you can sell the technology. If you're a detail person, you like to do implementations, you can implement the technology. And in these traditional sectors like manufacturing and logistics, these jobs are becoming more and more software focused. Automated. And I think FutureLink does a great job of training and teaching these mechanics of understanding the fundamentals and making it playful for the student to absorb the information.
Right. They're learning in a fun environment.
Exactly.
And that makes such a big difference.
Huge difference.
FutureLink has been coordinating along with the city of Corona with the Corona Norco Unified School District and Elverd Unified School District just to make sure, as well as Norco College too. And Chris, you bring up a great point because even at that economist meeting that I was at last week, they talked about the one that was in Ontario. They talked about the loss of jobs that's coming. And, really worries and scares a lot of people, and it probably should. But what they're also the piece of the story that they're often not telling is that there's going to be a lot of jobs created because of this too.
Yes.
And what we need to do, rather than being afraid of it and just like hiding our head in the sand like an ostrich, is we
Yes.
need to prepare for it.
Yes.
And we need to make sure that we have the students prepared to work on the robots and do the programming and do the sales, robot sales to
Absolutely.
Amazon or whatever
I would love
the
to
case
sell
may
a
be.
giant robot.
Yeah.
I just saw that movie Pacific Rim, so I was sitting there like, this is amazing. I can't wait till we can build these things. Hopefully not to fight off monsters.
And we just saw, have you seen Ready Player One yet?
Oh, not yet.
That was, I've
That
seen
was
that. See,
virtual reality.
Yeah.
Very big.
And it was a Steven Spielberg movie based in virtual reality, which for us older folks that aren't as techie as some of the younger ones that I went with, it was a little bit more difficult for me to wrap my head around that. But interesting. We've got more movies coming out.
Yes.
FutureLink also has a virtual reality room. If you haven't had the opportunity to check out virtual reality, check it out. Stop by there and check it out. It's very affordable for you to spend some time doing virtual reality right there in Dos Lagos. And
Yes.
what a fun. Maybe go get a beer at Stone Church and then head over to your virtual reality. There we go. That makes a nice Saturday
So what's
night.
next on the plate?
So next we have the Business Hour, which is April 12th. That's always our second Thursday of the month. This one happens to be April 12th from 8 a.m. until 9 a.m. at First Bank in Corona, which is on Ontario and Maine in Corona. And we're going to be talking about cybersecurity. Talk about automation and robots coming. We need cybersecurity because it more than ever, that's becoming so very important. It's not necessarily just someone can hack into your computer and steal your bank information, but they can actually, especially as we move to smart houses and your furnace and, our water systems, and everything is computerized and everything is hackable. So we're going to be talking about cybersecurity, how to protect your business. A lot of businesses have regulation on them, like especially medical, obviously with HIPAA. You need to make sure that that you're not hacked. And we know like Target was hacked not that long ago. A lot of companies,
Under Armour recently. Under Armour.
Did they just get hacked as well? Yeah, and it can be very costly to the tune of putting you out of business if you don't have the systems set up correctly and you were supposed to. So again, that's going to be a free meeting on April 12th, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. We keep it very strict to an hour because we know that you need to get back to work and we want to respect your time. So please join us for that if you can. And then another one of my favorites here is our pitch event in Corona.
Yes.
And that, if you've never been to a pitch event, it's like Shark Tank, where you get entrepreneurs pitching their business ideas. In this particular event in Corona, there will be some, I will say, amateur investors that will be available in the room and also on the panel. They're not actually Tech Coast Angels or anything like that, but you never know. So, and it's going to be open mic. Just show up. You'll be able to pitch your business idea. There's no rules really, other than you're going to get. I think we are deciding. I think the details are still being worked out per what the finale will be, but I think we usually like to keep the pitches to about 2 minutes, which is a lot of fun, I think, because it's really interesting to see what the entrepreneurs will put into a 2-minute presentation.
And I think it's also important to note that if you're an entrepreneur or you're moonlighting as an entrepreneur, this is a great event for you to exercise your pitching in front of people. It's a low-hanging fruit. If you haven't done it for anybody, then this is a perfect event for you to say, you know what, I have been talking about this idea for 2 years now, for 3 years, whatever it's been. Some people have ideas on the shelf for 5 years. Just pull it out, come to the event, give it a whirl, and you're going to see either you're going to have some sort of reception, you're going to get some feedback, and you're going to know what your next steps are going to be. And I think we need more of that to happen in our economy. Is people need to take some more chances.
Yeah, and if you're not an entrepreneur, but this is just something that interests you, you are more than welcome to come sit in the crowd. We will not force you to get up and say anything.
Yeah.
That's just for the entrepreneurs, but I would love to invite the community and come and check out what people are working on. It's so interesting to me, and if you are out there, maybe you have an app idea, something that your brain's been noodling for a while, but you don't know how to get started, just come anyways. Come and talk to the people in the room, because like I said, there's going to be our judges, our panel of judges, our business experts in the community, as well as kind of, I don't know if amateur is the right word, but maybe underground investors that they don't put themselves out there as investors, but they are looking for some investment opportunities. So you just never know. And certainly you won't know unless you show up. And you can kind of listen to some of the other pitches. Maybe, you know, I'm sure Chris will be there to some extent looking for some great app ideas that maybe people are having, you know, a hard time getting it started, but maybe you have a great app idea and you just want to get some help with that. So again, that will be Thursday, April 12th at 5:30 p.m. at Corona City Hall in the multipurpose room. And it's open. It's an open invitation. Come and listen, come and present. Whatever you want to do, we'd just love to have you there. And then really quick before I turn it over to Chris for his meetings, we have one more, again, a finance meeting by John Morris and Steve Mortensen, and that's called Getting Funded, and this one is for current businesses. This will be April 18th at 8 a.m., from 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. at Corona City Hall in the multipurpose room. And they're going to be talking about people who maybe you've been in business for a couple years, maybe you've been in business for 40 years, but you're finding that you're at a point where you're not moving forward, you're not moving beyond a threshold. This would be an excellent opportunity for you to come and get some sound advice from both John and Steve, who have been working in this industry for such a long time. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Chris to talk about some of the events he has planned for Innovation Month.
So we are test piloting a meetup that's going to be circling around the technology of blockchain. Now, some people use the more retail version of blockchain is obviously cryptocurrency, which is kind of like the buzz that everybody's been jumping on. We're going to touch a little bit on that, but I think we're going to really, because we're a development shop, we're going to focus more on the actual underlying technology of the blockchain. Now, what's great about the blockchain is a couple of things. TJ is going to be doing a guest speaking for that. He's preparing a whole presentation. He's actually been to 2 different conferences on this topic specifically. One was more of a networking sales conference. The second was more of a coding conference. So this is going to be a very good way for people to get educated on this technology that is starting to become more of a mainstream technology. Some of the larger providers that are in logistics, particularly Walmart, FedEx, UPS, are starting to use Amazon are starting to touch and integrate this technology, because the one thing this technology has that the other ones don't is that it has not been hacked yet, and it's built on a decentralized system.
It seems like this is where real estate docs are moving towards, escrow docs.
So that's a iteration called smart contracts, right? And smart contracts basically say, you and I have a deal, the smart contracts exist in the middle. Based on that contract, if you do this, I get compensated, or if I do this, this goes into escrow, and it automates that whole function in a fully visible manner, which is amazing technology to have, because as you know from just being around business for so long, there's tons of inefficiencies that happen when you're dealing with multiple parties, you know. And what this does, this tech, is it does an overlay on top of the existing technology to handle some of that heavy lifting of those mechanics. So we're going to be educating the public on 2 different sessions on April 19th. We're going to have a lunch and learn on April 19th. We have a meetup.com little registry there. You can go to meetup.com and look for blockchain within Corona. You'll find us. So we'll have an afternoon session, then we'll do an evening session from 6 to 7 to pilot which one is going to be the ones that are going to show up.
And I love this opportunity because we always struggle with when is the best time to hold a meeting, who's going to be there. So this is like my dream come true. They're going to be doing a lunch meeting and then the same meeting again in the evening. And we're just going to see which gets a better turnout. My thinking is it's probably going to be 6 one, half dozen the other. We're just going to get different people at each different meeting, and that's good too. But it's such a great opportunity for us to see what people prefer.
And, one last thing about blockchain is that, everybody in technology always chases after the shiny new thing, right? That is just the name of the business. However, people talk about AI, deep learning, machine learning, all these different things that are out there. The one thing I do like about blockchain is that it has a lot of applications and use cases for the traditional market sectors. And we're going to be delineating those cases in these presentations. So we're going to be talking about these are specific use cases. We ourselves as softwares are investing in that as well. So that'll be interesting. The next event, which is our favorite, Techo
Tuesday at Skyland Aleworks.
At Skyland Aleworks. So I really, again, just to reiterate what we talked about, it's a great starting point for anybody who's in tech to network with the folks around you. And I think it's a friendly environment. You know, yes, sometimes we're competitors in some case, but in a lot of times tech is so vast that you really don't necessarily step on other people's toes.
Right. I really do find that, especially at Techo Tuesday, because of the social atmosphere of it. I've heard before, let's just take two website design companies, and they'll be talking, and seemingly they are competitors to one another. But then as they continue talking, they touch on something where one of them will say, well, I don't like doing this for clients, or I don't specialize in that. And the other person goes, that is my specialty. Mm-hmm. And now they've figured out a partnership where they can send clients back and forth to one another, and they can choose to not work on the portion that they don't like doing, and vice versa. So it really does work out. It really does. I've seen a lot of really good partnerships come out of that meeting.
Yes, and I think everybody who's in the region could benefit from plugging themselves into that. You know, for example, you know, our friend Justin, who is a Corona guy, he plugged into that. He met a lot of people. He's working on the board for a company called Femargent, and now he's also working with I think Deep Bits Technology, which is a security-based technology. So, you know, a lot of opportunities came out as a function of him plugging into that network. And I think there's more of that we should be doing and trying to cast that wide net. So Techo Tuesday is a very good starting point. If you're a technology person, you're a freelancer, you're somebody who just wants to, you know, learn more about the space too. So maybe you can talk about the applications of a regular person who's interested in just understanding.
And we get some people there too, like we've had some marketing people that they have some app ideas, they don't know where to go, they need a programmer. In fact, someone was there at this last Techo Tuesday. Her IT systems in her office aren't working correctly. So she came to Techo Tuesday to see if she could find an IT person that could reconfigure all of her wiring and all of her IT systems. So, and you know, to that point, I just want to say, Chris, because I hear this all the time, whether it's Techo Tuesday or any of the other meetings that we have, whenever I greet people and say, you know, oh, what do you do? People try to make a case for, you know, they'll even say, oh, well, I work in Orange County, but my grandmother's mom's sister lives in Corona. So you don't have to, you're welcome to be there. You really don't have to have a tie-in. We would love for you to be a Corona business eventually, and we would love for you to, you know, take part in our Corona community, but you don't have to be a resident or a business owner in Corona. You do not need to be a member of the chamber. The whole point, in fact, we love when we get new people in there because that gives us someone new to network with, understand, you know, I remember there was someone from that Techo Tuesday that had come from Santa Ana and some different areas, and that gives us such an opportunity to get to know them a little better, network with them, and also gives them an opportunity to really see what's going on in Corona. So if you're listening right now and you're thinking, that sounds mildly interesting to me, but I'm not a whatever, don't worry about that. You are more than welcome to be there. We're not going to check your ID at the door, or we've never turned anyone away, you know, so we just would really appreciate having you there and having you be part of this innovation and technology movement that we have going on here in Corona, no matter where you are or where you're from.
Great. And to speak to that, I think this piggybacks off this. The digital marketing class that we're doing at the end of April was actually, we partnered up with a gentleman named Mike Schaefer, who came to our Techo Tuesday event, moved out of here from Florida only as recently as a few months ago, and was looking for a place to plug in, you know, and he came to the event. We hit it off very well. He's been doing a lot of analysis on digital marketing for several different parts of the community, including ourselves. And I said to him, you know, a best way for you to integrate yourself too into the community is by doing a free class. And so he's going to be doing a class at our office on April 30th. Now, this is for any entrepreneur, anybody who even just wants to understand digital marketing, because I can tell you just from doing a deep dive into it for the last 6 months, it's a bear. It is complex. There's so many different mediums now, social media, email marketing, as well as your website. and obviously the big bear in the room, Google, right? Google controls.
And they've all got to integrate.
Yes.
They've all got to, it's all got to sing all together.
Exactly. So I think Mike's going to do a good job of kind of positioning the statement of what is your ROI on this type of spend? Because the way digital marketing has been built is people don't necessarily understand this, but this is a good thing to know, is that it's a pay-to-play system. It used to not be like that. There are ways you can get organic searches through what's called organic SEO, but that usually takes a intentional effort of 6 months to a year, meaning you're putting tons of content out there, you're putting tons of posts out there, and you're driving people towards your website to possibly convert them. That is the long term. The short term is pay to play. You pay Google, you pay Facebook, you pay Instagram, you do all these sorts of ads that kind of farms the people in that would be appropriate for your market. So I think this class is good for anybody who just wants to understand, if I want to sell something online, what do I need to think about before I even do that?
Right.
And so I'm hoping that class, we're going to be doing it a little bit around lunchtime. And this is going to be a place for people to also get to know Mike, so they can ask him the questions. I've been vetting him now for the last month. We're doing some work together with our business. And the guy's very sharp. He understands his business. And it's very clear and apparent when you see his analysis. So I think people in this territory would benefit from that, because I've met a lot of marketing people in my lifetime. And the way he approaches it is from a business ROI standpoint. I think that sets him apart from a lot of people.
And marketing is the kind of the one thing in business that always eludes business owners.
Yes.
They've always, whenever we hold any kind of marketing event, we always get a really good turnout, because it's the one thing that people are really trying to grasp. And when done correctly, you can really target your dollars to make them really work for you. When not done correctly, you're rolling down your window and just throwing money out the window. Basically. So you want to make sure that you are
and
really...
we've all been there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, all of us have been there.
Yeah, and marketing is, I have a marketing background. I had a marketing company myself way back when, and it's understanding your target audience and knowing where to put those marketing dollars will help your business a million times over. And
you've seen the changes that have happened. They're drastic. It's not like TV and radio and now it's podcasting and internet searches and social media. Very different landscape than it was even 5 years ago. Right,
and I think that's fun, because it's changing so much. Marketing is so gray, but it's also so hard to wrap your head around that this will be a really great class.
Yes.
And Chris, why don't you give everybody your contact information and where Appcorp Labs is located?
Appcorp Labs is located right off Surface Club at 342 Bonnie Circle. We're in Suite A. If you need to get in contact with me, you can follow us on Facebook at Appcorp Labs, Instagram at Appcorp Labs, LinkedIn at Appcorp Labs, and if you want to email me directly, it's Chris at Appcorp Labs. Very easy.
And if we're not enunciating, it's APPCORE, Appcorp Labs. So just to make sure that you can understand us. And Corona, the way that Techo Tuesday came about initially anyways is we are in the process of putting together a Corona Innovation Center called the CoLab District, which stands for Corona Learning Arts Business District. And it's going to be in our former police department building, which is on Buena Vista and 6th Street near City Hall. We have 2 stories. I think it's about 24,000 square feet total. The building at the moment is in a little bit of disrepair because it's been shut down for about 8 or 9 years while the police moved over off of CODA. And so it's been a vacated building for about 8 or 9 years now, and police have used it for training and whatnot. So we've got a little bit of aesthetics that we're working through, some architect issues and that sort of thing with it. But we're really hoping by the end of this year, beginning of next, we will have it open. It will be a combination of a WeWork space, a co-working space, as well as mentorship resources that will be available there, and some other things that you'll get for your membership if you qualify and choose to be a member of the CoLab District. And we don't know what all those details are yet. We're working through them. But where this kind of started was when I started in Corona about 2 years ago. I was asked to figure out who our tech community is in Corona. And I thought, well, how on earth, how on earth am I going to do that, right? So you offer people tacos and you throw open the doors at Miguel's and they show up. So that was really how Techo Tuesday was born. It was, and then right around that time, I met Chris and Appcorp Labs, and we started collaborating about, he wanted to throw his arms around our tech community as well. So we had a lot of the same goals. And so
it worked out perfectly.
And it worked out.
It really
yes,
did.
It did.
Because I had no idea you were in that mindset too until I talked to you about it. And then we were like, wow, this is great. We both want to do this.
Yeah.
You know?
And, and speaking of innovation, and I think maybe because Heather Rawlings with the Corona Chamber will be my guest on my show next week. And I think you're coming back as well, right? Chris is going to be here every Monday for April for Innovation Month. So we've got 5 Mondays in April. So you get the Chris and Kim show for the next 5 Mondays. But Heather Rawlings will be here as well next week. And we're going to talk about some innovations and how the city and chamber work together. And I think that what makes me most proud to work in Corona is my creative ideas of how to throw my arms around the tech community or the manufacturing community are embraced and encouraged. And I think there's a lot to say about that. I think the city of Corona is very innovative. Our city manager comes from a private background, which is very rare. He's very innovative and entrepreneurial in his mindset. And so just innovation at its core, I think the city of Corona has done a lot to be innovative. And that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to work for this city, is because I saw the opportunity in being allowed to be creative and try out new things.
And the city's benefiting from that, So, I mean,
just this radio show,
Yeah, I think.
How many city governments do you know have a radio show? That's kind of cool.
I think you're doing a great job. I think the fact that you have so much energy to do all these events, because it's exhausting watching you work, which is amazing. So props to you. Is that people don't understand that it does take a lot of effort to do all these things. Putting together a month, putting together. We've been planning all this stuff for months in advance, and we've had some hiccups along the way. We've had some pros and cons. And I think, for our listeners, you just understand that if we're putting this together, we're putting ourselves out there to be involved in the community. Come participate with us. Don't stay at home. You should come out, see what's happening, learn some new people, make some new friends maybe,
right.
And actively go into it. Don't stay at home and put your head in the sand.
Right. And I always like to tell people, because I sit through, I will be at all these meetings as well, and if I have to sit through them, I'm going to make sure that the speakers are good and it's valuable information, because frankly I don't want to sit through that either if it's not. I'm not going to waste my own time. That would be silly. So, and I used to be a business owner. I understand the time constraints and how important it is for you to get value out of the meetings when you do give up your time to come spend it with us and learn something. So just know that we are always committed to getting you valuable information, speakers that are experts in the field. We really try to keep the meetings to an hour, hour and a half, and keep them moving as quickly as possible so that we're not wasting any time. And just really making sure that you get value for your time. And I like to tell people, we're always going to feed you. We always have refreshments and usually some coffee or something. So at worst, you're going to get fed, and you're going to meet at least one other person, okay? If that's
at least.
Yeah, that's worth an hour of your time. I guarantee you'll get more than that. But at the very least, you're going to accomplish that, if nothing else. So it's definitely worth your time to attend these events, and we really look forward to seeing you there. Innovation Month, again, is the month of April. Actually, on Wednesday night at our council meeting for the City of Corona, Mayor Spiegel will be issuing a proclamation. Chris will be there to help accept it, as well as FutureLink in Corona and Scott Brovsky, which is part of the EPIC SBDC out of UCR. They're all my partners in Innovation Month. They're going to be there to help accept it, and Mayor Spiegel will be issuing a proclamation making April Innovation Month in the City of Corona. And we just really look forward to partnering with all of you. If you have an idea for Innovation Month that you want your business to be highlighted for this particular month, just connect with me. Again, my name is Kimberly Davidson. I'm the Economic Development Manager for the City of Corona. And you can find me at kimberly.davidson@coronaca.gov. And with that, we are going to wrap it up. We've got a little less than a minute left. Chris, I just really want to thank you and Appcorp Labs. Without a private-public partnership that we have, especially what the partnership that we have with you, most of these events wouldn't be possible. We really need to, the government really needs to partner with our private business.
Yes.
And it's really private business that drives this stuff, but sometimes it's government, namely my department, that will kick you in the booty to make sure that,
Yes.
that we get these things going. So, and that's really the partnership that we have here, and it is so very important. And just really want to thank you for being in Corona and for your partnership with the city of Corona.
And I want to say one quick thing to that. I'm doing this also because hopefully I can inspire other entrepreneurs to take the mantle as well.
I love
thank
that.
you for your time.
Absolutely. All right, Corona, that is it for today. Again, we'll be back here next Monday. We've got every Monday in April lined up for you for a great, innovative conversation about what's going on in Corona, and we look forward to it. Have a great and successful week.
Have a good one.